say, according to YouTube, we're live, damn it, we're live. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Those regulars that know the drill, bring your Battenberg and altar wine. There's some freebies at the front, so the quicker you get into the pews, the better. Anyone that's a first-timer here in the Holy Church of the Battenberg, the Holy Battenberg, you know why it's called the Holy Battenberg? Because it makes the holy smell a whole lot better. Welcome, everyone, one and all, and I have been, well, it's not the first time in my life I've been desperate, but I've been desperate to get on air tonight, simply because, A, the cough's going, notice, the cough is going. It appears the antibiotics are working, and make of that whatever you will. And, you know, I mention it, there you go. Self-fulfilling prophecy. There's stuff I want to talk about tonight. Stephen Hall's got a magnificent erection. Is it in the living room or is it in the dining room, though, Stephen? He's got his tree up, and I hope you've enjoyed hanging your baubles from that tree. So tonight, I'm going to get into your comments in a moment, but there's some hot stuff. I mean, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about politics. There's so much going on at the moment that I can't keep up with it. Literally, I was trying to decide what should I bring to the body of the Kirk this evening in the sermon. As I told you, my doctor said, Adrian, if you suddenly flood with adrenaline, it's only a hormone. And I said to him, what's the difference between a vitamin and a hormone? I said, you can't hear a vitamin. So hopefully the cough will calm down eventually. And again, it's just old age. But the reason why I'm so excited to get into the sermon this evening is because there is so much going on. And it's almost as if the world is spinning in our direction. It's, I don't want to, what's the old phrase, many a slip between lip and cup. I don't want to tempt fate, because what's the old Murphy's Law? Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. But there's just so much going on, and it feels like the evil in the world is getting a battering. If it was a boxing match, they would definitely be getting a battering in the ring. Back to Starmer again. And there's just so much. I mean, I've spent the day laughing at the fuckwittery that's going on in the world, the tomfoolery that's going on in the world, the scum-sucking pond life that are attempting to do stuff. Like in America, you know, the the Congress people in America, they're trying to get this bill passed today in Congress where they will increase their pay from £174,000 a year to £234,000 a year. That's like a 60 grand raise. That's almost a 30% raise. Yeah. We are going to get to the local elections. We are going to get to Elon Musk, and I'm going to give you an exclusive. And I literally burst my incontinence pants earlier, laughing my cap off, laughing so hard. And at my age, anything hard's a bonus. So there's just stuff, and we're going to have a little bit of Christmassy stuff in the middle of it, because I want you to interact. And just stuff, man, just stuff. I mean, honestly, Starmer, he's got a permanent look on his face, like he's got a dildo shoved up his arse. Oh, hang on. Kaz says, is the Bluetooth on? Cuban Pete 1. No, it shouldn't be. Or did I? Stand by, caller. I'm just going to check. Oh, you got crackling. All right. Must be having pork tonight. Stand by, caller. I'll be 2 seconds. Hang on. Oh, that way then. Right. No, the Bluetooth is off, so I'm not quite sure why it's crackling. Oh, it's not showing me. It should be okay, technically. But then again, those that have been with me for a couple of years will know that technical prowess is not my strong point. I'm a gob on a stick. That's it. So where do we start? Right, we start with your comments. We'll go through some of these, and thank you to those that have been in touch. I want to say thank you to Andrew James and Tocker the 69, because I'm going to use some of your bits and pieces tonight. Because basically, I'm sure you'll agree that Labour are basically liars, liars. Liars! The whole lot of them. They're just lying. And now they're panicking because they're getting found out. And those media arms that are supporting this Labour government are also, well, you don't want to be associated with failure. And you don't want to be associated with liars. Liars! Liars! And any of the broadcasters that seem to think that they can support this bunch of clowns, these scum-sucking pond life. Mate, you can't. There isn't any defence when you can't defend the indefensible. These lying bastards in power need to foxtrot Oscar. And those media arms, including the telly people that are supporting them, oh, I say, how much are you being paid? Are you corrupt as well? How much are you being paid? Backhanders in brown envelopes, perchance? So you can see, I'm keen tonight. So please allow everyone into the body of the Kirk, because here we allow free speech, unless you're silly, of course, and then the moderator will come after you. And the moderator comes after me. So, you know, all is fair in love and YouTube lives. Alan says, oh, first in the comments, Starmer the Granny Harmer might be watching tonight, 80. I do hope he is, because he's probably gargling with fizz. Champagne socialist, obviously. Cuban Pete. One. Just you on your own, Cuban Pete. There might be a few seats next to Cuban Pete if he's the only one in the pew. Cuban Pete says, I appreciate most people are feeling the pinch at the moment, but when is this government going to stop hammering its own people? First the pensioners, and now the waspy women, despite promising to help. Going to talk about that, Cuban Pete, because it's hot, but I'm going to... most people are using WASPy, the acronym, but they don't know what it means. And they don't know what this bunch of lying toe rags have been saying for the last few years. Anything to get into power. Hey, Kia, 2 tier, 3 gear, queer, Starmer. As in the moralistic use of the word, as in there's now as queer as folk. He's not even northern, bless him. Is he? Well, I think his parents might have been. Although they'll be shaking their heads now. Cuban Pete says, they just seem to be getting away with whatever they want. Yes, Keir Starmer is scaring me a lot now and more by the day. Well, I think you'll find that the way the world is turning... Oh, Retro on his bikes is in the body of the Kirk tonight. Welcome, Retro. Good to see you, sir. I think... The general zeitgeist, the consensus, is that they're only going to get one term because Reform are going to win the next election. That's why they're pulling stunts, Cupid stunts, left, right and centre. Kenny Everett, there's a reference for you. Terry Wookfit, and yet when you think about it, women wanted to be treated the same as men, and then when they are, they want compensation for it. I know, because they work out that they possibly have lost about 50 grand-ish. Now, 50 grand is good beer money, so they say. But yeah, we will talk about it, because you are right, Terry. For years and years and years, they said, no, we want equal. Equal means equal, and that means... pay, equal pay. We want to burst through the glass ceiling. Brilliant. Brilliant. And now that you're retiring at the same age as us, it's like, oh, no, not that. But then again, 2-tier Kia, 3-gear Kia, queer, as in queer as folk, Kia. He said, I'll help you if you vote for me. Yeah, are you from Rochdale, Rotherham? Yeah, you can vote for me. Yeah, and the Labour Party, we are the Workers' Party. Oh, you had to win shite, man. Stuart says, evening, Rev. I've looked around the body of the Kirk and the Bishop isn't here. So don't bash him if he's not here, because he gets very upset. I mean, if you want to bash some bishops, I'm going to talk about them later, because religion is dead. Religion is dead, because the Church of England, poor Henry VIII, he is spinning in his grave. If only he could... he sets up the Church of England because obviously the nonces in Rome weren't very happy at him wanting to marry other people. So he just says, I'm the king. I can do whatever I want. I'm the king. Right, Protestants, Church of England. And now, because they've all been messing with the kids and they've been covering it up, they're all resigning. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Get your frock off, you dirty tarts. Sorry, Stuart, I had to take a drink there. Throat's going. Hang on. Evening, Rev. Right, the bishop's not here, so everybody relax. He won't nick any altar wine, and he definitely can't have any Battenberg, although he's probably around the back of the bike shed with a couple of choir boys. He isn't here, so here's your first Jaeger hibiscus bomb. Boom! Yeah, we love it. Honestly, people would be going, does he really drink while he's doing a YouTube live? I'm from the north, man. We drink when we're doing everything. Stephen Hall says, I was a Catholic long ago. Don't say that. They'll come after you. Touch your toes, 50p on the ground. Steer clear of the bishop. He knows what I'm up to, but can't prove it. Exactly. If he didn't see it, no proof. Oh, very good point from Alan. I wonder if Queen Camilla got her waspy pension. Well, she's now using a people carrier instead of limos. Literally, there was a picture of her in the paper today, possibly in the Daily Mail, so I'm not quite sure whether I can believe it or not. But Camilla was out and about, and she uses a people carrier. Bit like the Queen Mum, she loved driving a golf cart. I mean, in the house. Can you imagine? Could you get a golf cart in your house? No, me neither. Couldn't get it past the front door. But the Queen Mother loved driving them about. Well, she didn't drive, obviously, because she would spill her gin. But the staff. Did you notice how the story about the staff kicking off and fighting each other at the Christmas party the other day soon got, well, it unalived. It disappeared. Wasn't in the press anymore. Nobody's talking about it. Can you imagine all those gay men fighting? You didn't see me lips move. I didn't say anything. Andrew James. I saw the bishop at a Jethro Tull concert last week. I think he's still recovering from Lloyd Grossman singing. Ain't doing nothing. I've seen his sauce and tasted it a few times. His sauce, obviously. Let's have a look at Andrew James. Has a surprise for you. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, steady on. I've printed off your little musings to me, Andrew. I was going to read that tonight, if you don't mind. Yeah, we've got rid of the bishop. Don't worry. Don't worry. Wasn't it an Ed Bishop that was in UFO? Can you remember the TV series, UFO? Ed Bishop. Was he called Straker, the character in UFO? Used to be on a Wednesday night, and I was only allowed to stay up because I kind of, aliens, love aliens. And then when they did some scary stuff with the humans, I was like, no, I can't watch that again. Was it Ed Straker? Evening, Rich. Evening, Retro. Evening, Reverend. Soul Rebel. Yeah, he's in the body of the Kirk this evening, as in Paulie Gallieri. I'm sure Paul Burrell had his fair share of pillow biting in Buckingham Palace. Probably thought it was a marshmallow. Hang on, have I frozen? Somebody... Oh, hang on, Soul Rebel. Nick Drake's sister was in UFO. Oh, that's why. What the bloody hell, man? Hang on. I'm just doing that. Oh, shite. This is not going very well. Right. Yes, Nick Drake's sister, Gabrielle Drake, who got me through puberty. Let me tell you, what a good-looking woman she is. She kind of lives on her own now. I think her husband died a few years ago, and she's just living the kind of non-famous life and does a little bit. But imagine the family. Whoa, acting talent, singing talent, wonderful. Right, thank you for everyone who said that I wasn't frozen. I'm not quite sure what went on, but now I'm watching the channel, and it's behind what I'm actually doing by about 2 or 3 seconds. So let's see if I can run it to there. Right. we're at the bottom of the comments. I think I've probably just mucked it up. But Ray Norton, Burrell was handed round like Bieber at the P. Diddy party. Really? Any videos? Not for me, obviously, just for journalistic reasons. And there are videos of Bieber, so I'm told. Moderator, Retro on his bikes. Congrats, Grandad. Retro, are you Grandad? Was it just before Christmas? Many congratulations, Retro. Good to hear of your little bundle of joy. Not yours, but, grandban, for Christmas. Lots and lots and lots of joy and wonderment and all kinds of bits and pieces coming at Christmas time for you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful news, Retro. Congratulations. Andy Turner, so Clade, you never touch button on radio. Do I need a translator for that, Andy? Terry Walkfit, Kathy. No, he didn't. He didn't say anything. The judge ended not guilty on his behalf. We are going to get to that. And please, we have to be very, very, very careful in what is said about what was being said. And I will guide you through that, because I mentioned many times on here about subjudice. You can be jailed for it, so please don't comment, but I will tell you I'm on it. Oh, Jean, psychic, welcome back into the body of the Kirk, Jean. I know Jean's not been, she's been poorly recently, but it's good to have you back, Jean. You are most welcome. Just make sure that these loud asses don't take up all of the pews and drink all of the altar wine. Do you know, oh, blimey, Andy, are you out? Were your rod out? Are you dipping it in some lake somewhere, or is it a river? What kind of fishing are you doing? Alan says, I know nothing. Yeah, Rich says, watch the comments more. So anyway, thank you for all your comments. Thank you for getting us started and getting us underway. Literally today, there is so much going on that I thought about, well, do I do 3 hours tonight? Do I do 4 hours tonight? It's just insanity. It's almost as if, well, PMQs, Starmer got a bashing. I have to say it. It wasn't his best performance, but maybe he's just looking forward to having a family Christmas with Lord Ali. Evening, Jules. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, you slacker. 15 minutes in, you've missed all the best bits. I'm going home now. So what are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to have some interaction. Hang on. Sandra Wytham. Sandra, 5 points clear. What can I say? I mean, it's Sheffield United, Sandra's favourite team, and then it's Leeds United, Leeds' favourite team, then it's Burnley, and then it's Sunderland in the Championship. So it's one game, one win, almost between four sides, and then there's only really the top seven that's going to get into the playoffs. The Bad Wolf Project, Starmer microwave, turkey dinner for one. That'll be Lord Ali's then. Curried sausage for Starmer then. Oh, the old Bovril. How very dare you, but very funny. Terry Upfit. Right, okay. That's a very good point, Terry. Thank you for that. So, I will try my best tonight, but it's literally a flow of consciousness because there's so much going on. And as I was coming on air, there was still stuff going on in America, in this country. And as I was about to say, maybe they're just trying to get everything in before tomorrow, and then they'll take 3 months off for Christmas. Because they do, politicians. Barely work a decent day's work in their life. I'd love to see them on a building site. Mind you. So keep the comments coming about all the things that we're going to talk about this evening. I'm going to read this from Andrew James, because it's very funny and very good. Morning, Rev, says Andrew. I hope you and Mrs. A are thriving. We're getting broader in the beam, the amount of chocolate that's flooding around this house. Well, it's Christmas. You do, don't you? Shouldn't. But Last week, I had the absolute pleasure of attending a Jethro Tull concert in the Cathedral, a marvellous fundraising event. The encore, Locomotive Breath, was spellbinding. Now, I can't help but wonder why we don't have such rousing singing at your Kirk. It's a great idea, Andrew. I mean, we could put a choir together. I have said that if you can suck and blow, we've got harmonicas, we've got trombones, we've got all the brass section. Right, I'm just gonna, before I continue with Andrew's little missive, I'm going to say this from the moderator, and it's really serious. The moderator says your swears and your comments about the Southport chap, anything inappropriate will be hidden. It has to be, because we could get into a lot of trouble. If you think that you're clever and you can just slip it by, the moderator is on the ball. And if you suddenly can't comment anymore, well, then, you should have played the game with us. Simply because we want to see the process of law seen through. And what I will say, when I talk about it, I've made sure that I am respectful of the process of law, and in no way will I attempt or intend to do anything that subverts the process of law. That's all. Evening, Fern. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. So Andrew James is suggesting, can you imagine if remember when we were all in those lockdowns? They had like bands and stuff at, no, I won't, Alan. The bands were like in different places. Maybe we should, I play on my tambourine or my little triangle, because it is a thing of beauty, my little triangle. So maybe we should arrange it. It would be wonderful. And talking of UFOs, oh, so rebel, what are you saying? But as Andrew is saying, I'd be more than happy to volunteer as a musical director. Whoa, imagine this. Stuart could transport us back to 1976 with an Our Kid tribute band. There'll be a few people in the body of the Kirk that remember Our Kid from Opportunity Knocks. Me? I'm not old enough. I just had a long paper round. Hitting every note and harmony perfect. Nice, Stuart. Right after he brews up a proper cup of tea, naturally. Yeah, there's only Stuart brews up a proper cup of tea. For the interval, we could entertain the crowd with the lively Blackheath Morris dancers. You know why they're called Blackheath in London? Blackheath. And I did this research for when I was on LBC. They buried all the dead from the plague on that heath. I think it was James I James I in Scotland. He was James II here. He came down and he just said bury them in there. So there's pits and pits and pits under Blackheath where they buried people with the plague. That's why they call it Blackheath. Mrs. James could work her magic. Oh, I say, Andrew, TMI. Crafting fabulous outfits for Miss Grassy. Yeah, where's Amalia? Has she forgotten again? Or she had too much sherry trifle? And the rest of the chickadees of the Kirk, we got quite a few, all hotties. They could rock the stage with their Kiss and Susie and the Banshees cover band. Kiss and Shees. That's very funny. Susie and the Banshees. Is it Hong Kong Garden my favourite? Kiss, I could never really get into them. Although they did have a couple of decent rock songs. Hang on a second. In the Field said something very funny. Moderator, you'd be on for a Mars multi-pack the way you're deleting messages tonight. Oh dear. And let's not forget Tocker 69, the Bovril, Johnny Ray, Terry Wookfit, and In the Field. They could either dazzle us, our very own hot gossip. Have you seen these lot in leotards? I mean, my eyes. I don't think I could barely look through my fingers if they were wearing, lycra. Or take us down memory lane with their Shawaddy Waddy and Mud cover band. Show Muddy Muddy. Outfits could be hired from Shawaddy Waddy archives if I slip a few quid to David Bartram. I thought he was dead. Dave Barton, the lead singer of Shoddy Body. I thought he was dead. The grand finale, we could have you, Rev, enchanting us with the beautiful cello works of Boccherini. Now, wouldn't that be a night to remember? They would talk about it for decades. I'd wonder who would get arrested first. Obviously not me, I'm a man of the cloth. Mind you, if the Rozzers appear, I'll be touching cloth. Tracy, the celibate sinner. Oh, really? Hot gossip, I remember. Hot gossip, I mean, it was... as a teenager, very young teenager, before you start, hot gossip were, because like Top of the Pops had Flick Colby's dancers, and then 7 o'clock, was it 7 o'clock on a Monday night? Kenny Everett would bring hot gossip on. It was like, I lost my heart to a Starship Trooper. Oh, I say. Stocks and sassies, says Alan. I know. Don't lead me down that. I mean, I'm excitable as it is this evening. Legs and co. Yeah, they tried to, Gene Psychic, when Hot Gossip was on ITV and Kenny Everett's, did he call it video show? They had to do something sexy on Top of the Pops for Legs and co. Some of them are still around, pretty fitties. Got a twitch when you mentioned hot gossip. Ray Norton, I know, for an old one. There's still life in the old boys yet. Des Ashton, Labour's favourite movie, The Colour of Money. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. They're all corrupt. I mean, it's not like they're hiding it anymore. It's not like they know that they're telling lies, and they know that we're not dumb, and we have free access to free speech. It's called X. But, here, I've got to be very careful, and... Cupid stunt was in the best possible taste, says Alan. I've got to be very careful how so tonight I may be using some code words. I may be using things that you'll understand. The roly-polies. If you love the chunksters, you sure don't mean Mankini, Terry. Can you imagine the, what did he say it was? I thought it was brilliant. Show Muddy in Mankinis. No, doctor, no. So Rebel, you sure you don't? Yeah. Was Kenny Everett from Seaforth in Liverpool, like you, Gene Psychic? I worked for Radio City for a while and loved the magic of Liverpool. Loved it. I mean, the Beatles, obviously. One of the shareholders of Radio City at the time I was there. This is sort of 92. 91, 92, was Jerry Marsden from Jerry and the Pacemakers. So he was always in the building. And like for me, I'm not very good with celebs because it's out of context. And I am going to ask you tonight about out of context celebrities. I'll tell you my story about the IRA. And Gene, I have to say, Liverpool's one of my favourite cities, just because. As a little lad, growing up in Sunderland, where there's next to out there, Liverpool seemed magical. And the Beatles were even more magical. And the Scousers, for me, when I was working in the city, they're all dead funny. Proper. I mean, every Scouser is a comedian. Everyone. And I was like, they'd... Oh, that's interesting, Stephen Hall. I remember Kenny calling his Capital Radio the audio show in the 70s. So for me, Jane, Liverpool is very special. Very, very, very special. Yeah, the Liverbirds, used to see them every day walking into work. I went to Strawberry Fields, I went to Penny Lane, I took a drive around the area, and it was like, wow. I mean, it's literally mind-blowing. Some of the statues. At that time, there was no cavern. For some inexplicable reason, they demolished the original cavern. But I think they've recreated it. But Harrowby Road, I think. What's that, Gene? Is that where you lived? 76. There's that year again. Sun. I know, it was wonderful. Gene says, I loved Radio City early days. I did the Peaceful Hour at night. I did afternoons. I did a bit of drive. So I was there for a while, and it was on Stanley Street. and the building was on so many different levels. It was so big inside. It was like a TARDIS that I just loved getting lost. Comprod was right in the bowels, in the basement of Radio City. So if I wanted to get away from like doing any work for once in my life, I used to go down and see the lads in commercial production, Comprod, and talk to them and do audio stuff and voice some commercials and stuff. Miss Cilla B. Black. Fern, I don't think she was a shareholder, though. Jean says, Liverpool's a special place. We have to be humorous. We have to laugh at our adversity to get through. I'm with you, Jean. I'm with you. But it is a magical place. Magical. And there's no edges to the Scousers. I mean, me and Schnelly, who I think is on BBC Merseyside now. We used to go and play golf. Funny guy, lovely guy. Everybody that was at Radio City in my time in the early 90s were just fabulous. Not a wrong word for the station, for the city, for the people that I work with. I just loved it. And I have very, very, very happy memories of working there. Talker 69 lived there, late 80s, early 90s. I mean, we could expound on Liverpool, but we've got so much to talk about, really important. Mersey Beat, 60s, fabulous, says Alan. Interesting. What's the origin of the term scouse, says Rich. From what I remember and being told, isn't it like a potato dish that you, like a fry up? Scouse? Isn't it potato with just like everything chucked in? Jane Psychic says, 194 Radio City. I used to win prizes like a kettle that would boil an egg off Norman Thomas. Oh, brilliant. Norman was there when I was there. He was just floating around, but he was definitely there. Great voice. Ferry cross the Mersey. Don't let the sun. I know. And you know, it was only when Frankie Goes to Hollywood started like just mullering the top 40 and everything they released went to #1. And the radio presenters were all referencing the fact that it hadn't been done since Jerry and the Pacemakers, like Ferry Across the Mersey and all the other just fabulous, fabulous songs. You'll Never Walk Alone, the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear Liverpool. Interesting, Nikki. First thing that comes to my mind is statues of the Beatles and John Lennon. I mean, I remember just going for a walk with one of the lads, and I said to them, "Look, where's all the best bits? Some great Chinese restaurants." And he took me for a walk around all the statues, and literally the hairs, even now, thinking about it and seeing it in my head, the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. Wonderful. If you've never been to Liverpool, you must. Scouse is potato-y stew. Is it, Rhea? I thought it was like a potato fry-up. Because in the northeast, from Sunday dinner, you used to keep the leftovers, and then on a Monday, you'd have a potato fry-up with all the meat and the veg and everything just chucked in a pan and warmed through. Oi, oi, oi. Oh, yeah, it's a stew. Stuart says, You'll Never Walk Alone reminds me of my late uncle, who was a Liverpool supporter. Like a Stoke lobby? What's that, Rich? So in... I've already told you that. Can I get to something really important? And I'm not going to mention any of your comments while I do this, because it gladdened my heart. The Japanese have a very interesting description of that. They call it daijubyo. It gladdens my heart, as we would say in English. But daijubyo in Japanese has a certain cachet, a certain romanticism to it. And it's a phrase that just means it gladdens my heart. It warms my heart. And Elon Musk, he's light years ahead of these muppets in politics. He's light years ahead of them. And you know how today it's been announced that Labour are going to try and bring a law in which means that you can't donate to political parties if you're not from here. You're not from round here. You've got to be British, or whether it's United Kingdom or Great Britain. United Kingdom, hang on, Britain is England, Scotland and Wales. Great Britain is England, Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. And this is exclusive because the rest of the papers, it might be front page tomorrow, because this is really setting the cat amongst the pigeons, the wolf in the chicken coop. It is just fantastic news and sticks it right up two-tier Kia, free gear Kia, queer, as in queer as folk, Starmer, and the rest of the Labourites, the scum-sucking pond life that have taken the working man and woman's party and subverted it for their own ends. So Elon Musk, they're saying, he's not from around here, he's South African. Are you sure? Have you done your research? Because I've done mine. And Elon Musk's heritage in this green and pleasant land, in this sceptred isle, goes back at least 300 years. His relatives are all from here. But let me continue, because I'm going to give you the facts. Elon Musk has native English blood. It means that the donation would not be foreign, and it wouldn't be foreign election interference. Let me continue. He's more English than Labour's core voting demographic by a country mile. So English Elon, as he's now known in the body of the Kirk, his gran was from the Wirral and his grandfather served with the GB intelligence services in World War II. Want me to continue? Elon Musk's paternal grandparents, so his dad's parents, were Walter Henry James Musk, a South African World War II veteran, and his British wife, Cora Amelia Robinson. So it seems that Labour didn't really have a problem when they're taking backhanders from, Bill Gates and George Soros, from the EU. They don't have a problem taking anything from them, and BlackRock bribing news channels, or with China bribing their MPs. That's why Prince Andrew is getting it tight, because it was MPs that introduced Prince Andrew to the Chinese so-called spy. You getting it yet? So when it's them receiving £2,000 glasses and thousands of pounds for suits, or a new dress for the missus, or new clothes for Ginger Growler, there's not a problem there. That's not political interference. No, they're freebies. So giving 100 million to Farage and Reform, oh no, he's South African, no, he's in America. Well, let me continue. So I would suggest that this is Labour, do as I say. Don't do as I do. Typical communists. Typical. But you know, the world is different now. You can't do this like 50 or 60 years ago or 100 years ago, where you want to get rid of the royal family. No, as in the Russians, Bolsheviks. No, you can't do that. This is 2024. We're going into 2025. It's a brave new world. Can you imagine if Camel Toe had got into power? We would be having nuclear war. I kid you not. They literally would be killing each other left, right and centre. And you think they don't? So I saw a piece in the Times saying that Elon Musk was showing interest in making a donation to Reform during his meeting with Nigel Farage, who's been out to Mar-a-Lago. I'm not quite sure how long he's been there for this week. But a Labour spokesman is quoted as saying that the government was considering making it tougher to make such donations. Wait till they find out he's got English grandparents, English heritage going back hundreds of years. I mean, I could have given you names and names and names going back to the early 1700s. I think there was something in 1600s. But if you want me to, I'll do a separate video, because it's right up these Bolshevik arseholes that are in power. And I'm making a prediction for you. The reason why they're trying to get rid of some of these May elections, local elections, is because they know that Farage and Reform are on a rocket fuel type path. It's just off to the moon. The Tories know it, and there's been, I was going to use this later, but I'll use it now. There's been a poll taken today, and the poll says Farage is on 27% approval, Starmer, 19%. Kemi Badenoch, 18%. Did I went all Rab C. Nesbitt there? So rebel. Brilliant. Love Rab. If Terry Wockford says, if Musk wants to donate to Reform, he can send it to me. I will make the full donation for him and not charge my usual 1%. Brilliant, Terry. But the Labour are really worried. So they want to delay, maybe, the local elections to 2026 or 2027. They can't do that. It's not happened since the Second World War. But they don't care because they are corrupt. That's why they are excreting the brown stuff, because it seems that Farage has just got the steel on them and got the measure of them, and they don't know what they're doing. I mean, if you want to talk about Starmer, he's been away more than he's been home. He has literally been up in the air for weeks and weeks and weeks of his first 5 months as Prime Minister. He doesn't care. He literally has no empathy or no compassion for what the British people are going through, whether it's the pensioners and the winter fuel payments, whether it's let me make this point in amongst the point that I'm making. So when Farage gets to power, because he will be the next Prime Minister, it might be in 18 months, because I will also countenance you with this. If Starmer feels the cold steel blade going between his shoulder blades from his own party, he will call a snap election knowing that Labour will go down the Swanee, never, ever, ever to be re-elected. I mean, you've got the Tories. The Tories think they might get into the next election. Or you've got Bojo the Clown thinking he's going to make something of a political comeback. Absolutely not. People have changed. We've seen what they did to us from 2020 onwards. We've seen what this corrupt lot have done subsequently for this last 5 months. And the only hope that we have, and Farage will use, the Donald's playbook. Straight up and down with integrity. Doesn't matter what the other politicians say, because we know they're all corrupt. We know they're all lying bar stewards. We know. How can you tell when Sir Keir Starmer is lying? His bloody lips move. Every time. Stephen Hall says Bojo's busy writing books now. No, he's in Australia. Touting the books, probably. There's only, 6, 7 million in Australia? 10 million at most? So it's almost the equivalent of London. But when Farage gets to power, I hope he will outlaw payments by unions to Labour. Let me give you the example. What was the first thing that Labour did, and Starmer and Reeves and Ginger Growler, what was the first thing they did when they got into power? I will tell you, because I'm not being facetious. Starmer put train drivers, ipso facto, because he's obviously President Starmer, via the Labour Party, they put train drivers on 93 grand a year. £600 for one overtime shift. They're on a 4-day week. That's what he's put them on. And free travel from all the family. I know that for shit sure, TfL. And that'll be, you know who that is, don't you? 10 times millionaire, Sadiq Carnage, Mayor of London. Now, that kind of racket should have been banned years ago. Shouldn't allow the unions to support Labour, because the Labour Party, from the moment that Blair got into power, was actually not about the man and woman on the street. It was just about how much they could grift for themselves. I mean, Blair, Jesus. So I do hope that because what Labour is trying to do now, Farage, I think he's probably taking the Donald playbook and thinking, I'm not going to do that. I'm better than that. But, it's testimony to how corrupt the Labour Party is. They're all at it. So Elon Musk posted on X today, time for massive reform in Britain. Are they going to make Britain Great Britain again? So this poll, it was from More in Common between the 6th and 10th of December, when they asked people, who would you favour? And Farage came out at 27%, Starmer 19%. I mean, his approval rating is going through the floor. It's laughable. It's risible. He's going into the media and he's not answering any of their questions. And what these idiots don't understand is that we're all watching. We're all watching and we're all listening. And we're all seeing how they're being quoted in the legacy media. I mean, I've said to you before, the only thing that you can believe about the legacy media is the price on the front, because they never get that wrong. Sky, never wrong for long, was the old epithet we used 10 years ago. Minus 61% now on Cuban Pete. Oi! I mean, how long can he continue the fight? It would have been easier if he'd fought Mike Tyson at his prime. I mean, I've seen two-tier on the heavy bag. He's more likely going to give you a real weak slap. And then Mike Tyson, chew his ear off. So that's all going on. They're trying to say, no, you can't. We're in charge. We're the government. So no, you can't. And then Farage is not saying anything. Silence is where the power is. But these clowns, they're just... I don't even think that they understand that we're not stupid. They think we are. They think we're as thick as pig shit. But I can't stop laughing. Honestly, I daren't switch the media on. I daren't switch the telly on. I daren't switch the radio on first thing in the morning because I would literally wet my bed laughing at these clowns. And today he was on some, Starmer was on some British military ship out in the, was it the Baltic or the Black Sea? And I thought, hang on, did he just say he was on the Black Sea? What the bloody hell's he doing there? Now, let me give you a little insight. Turkey is giving Israel barrels of oil, but saying in public, no. We're not supporting Israel. No, we're Muslim. But giving them oil, barrels of oil. Because the Black Sea, all the countries surrounding the Black Sea, whether it's Turkey or Bulgaria or Syria, I think has got a bit of it. And if you look at Crimea, Russia's got Crimea, and then you've got Ukraine. They're all at it because there's tons and tons and tons of oil and gas under the Black Sea. 160 hours Starmer has spent in the air so far. Such a well-travelled Prime Minister. Romania, yeah, they'll make a few bob from it. So I forgive my manners to the legendary Battenbergers. I will obviously give you a mention to the angelic inspirations. I hope you're in the body of the Kirk. She says, thanks for the cutback. I do hope you got some altar wine in Battenberg. Andy B, thank you, Andy, for your support. Stuart, again, you're always such a wonderful supporter. And Ria Odell, forgive me, Ria, I didn't mention you on Sunday. Yeah. Oh, blimey, Ria Odell says, don't ask about his carbon footprint with all those air miles. Yeah, it used to be Air Miles Andy. I think it's Air Miles Starmer now. But he's like, I'm Prime Minister. I get free rides. What's his face? Cockeye. Rich boy Sunak, he was at it as well. Now, they're obviously going around like they think they're president. That's not how politics works in this country. They might think that they're president, but there isn't a president in this country. All it is the Prime Minister, or Prime Monster in my house. Thank you, Marge. It's when the adrenaline, seemingly, I was going to say this earlier, that when I come on air, I can't even speak now. Rich, that would be funny if the rumour is that Starmer's adding the UK to his world tour. He's saying, don't judge us now. No. Judge us in 5 years. Don't be so fucking stupid. He's a clown, that man. He's an utter, caring, understanding 90s type. He's a clown. He's just... So Sunak was always in a helicopter, never in a plane, because he was just flying all over the country. Bless him. But now, Starmer, don't judge us now, judge us in 5 years. No, because you're going to ruin this country that it'll never come back from. And I laughed. Starmer was given this dilemma. Do I take Britain back into Europe? Because that's what he's going to do. BlackRock, Gates, Ursula von der Leyen. He's not going to ask you. He's going to go against democracy, which is what the people voted for. Whether it was right or wrong is another matter. And he's going to find a back doorway. You know what I'm saying? Lord Ali's probably given him the idea. He's probably going in via the back door to Europe and making sure that we can't get out of it, ever. Because they'll go, well, it's international law. Well, I tell you what, lads, we're a fighting nation, we're a fighting island, so if you turn around and go, it's international law, we'll fucking nuke you. We will come across into Europe and we'll kick your arse again. We won't fuck about. We will fuck you right up. That's international law, if you pardon my expressions. Nobody fights like the British, the Scots, or the Welsh, or the English. We are feared worldwide. You can get the Americans to go and fight, but they've got to be off their tits on speed to fly their aircraft, because they're not very good at stuff. They think that they're the best military in the world. We just laugh. So he's going to take us into Europe again via the back door, make sure we can't get out. Yeah, we can. We can leave any time we want. We need to tell these politicians that they are our servants. We pay their wages and they do our bidding. And it just, look, I'm not a violent man by any stretch of the imagination, but it's just, why can't they listen to the people? Seemingly they voted for them. Only 20% of the electorate. That's not many. If you take, I don't know, say 6.5 million, there's 70 in the Sceptred Isle-ish. Stuart the Jaegers are kicking in. Yeah, wrong. But you've got, say, 65. So they've had, what, 11, 12 million votes? Farage, in a party that hadn't even been to a general election before, and Farage wasn't even an MP. They got 4 million. And the whole country doesn't want this. And I keep seeing people on X, because they left to go to Blue Sky. Why did they go to Blue Sky? Because that's where the wokerati went. And now there's all these nonsense being found out on Blue Sky. So they're all coming back to Twitter when they're saying, I'm leaving, I've had enough. And they swan off and then they come back and you just think, oh, no. Cheers, Rich. Yeah, swear box might be pretty full tonight. So the only way that I can get through this is by laughing at them, because getting angry just either end up in jail for twatting somebody, or I'm going to have a heart attack. I've just got to laugh at them and hope beyond hope that Starmer, who's pretty thin-skinned, lets PDFs off like Hugh Edwards and jails other people for posting on social media. Scare tactics. These people are communists. These people have got the Chinese Communist Party's playbook. They are being told what to do. They know, the Chinese Communist Party, they know that you can buy any politician you wish. There's just a variance in the price. So we know that Starmer has been multiple times to Davos and WEF. They have. And the last World Economic Forum, there were complaints from the locals that it was all bloody Chinese. So you've got the Chinese, who they've got money, resources, they've got most of America's debt. And what Trump is doing is he'll be the crypto king. He will take America down through crypto, which means that the debt that China has hold of is in the dollar. And China won't be able to tell America what to do. So the communists are panicking. The political classes are panicking. Not only are the political classes are panicking, and I've been telling you this for 2 years, but also the clergy. So all the landed gentry that had big houses, a nice big pile, a nice family seat, and lots of land, if they had 2 sons, the first son inherits the pile, the house, the land, the wealth. The second son goes into the clergy. Because that's where the power is. The money is the first son, the power is the second son. Now, I will get to, Dan Brocky, you've missed it, man. I will get to what I want to talk about as far as the clergy is concerned, because it's in meltdown. Meltdown, because they haven't dealt with the PDFs that were in the church. So, do you know what I'm also laughing at? The fact that it looks like we Brits are getting our sense of humour back. Because you know this Sir Starmer and the Granny Harmers phrasing this Christmas. Please, if you've never, ever, ever listened to it or seen it, go and search it out. Sir Starmer and the Granny Harmers freezing this Christmas. And it's pathos. That's what that is. It's pathos. It's humour wrapped up as reality. And we know, Talker 69, thank you. We know that the old ones are getting it tight. Every which way. They're not allowed to have a few extra pennies to buy them something nice for Christmas, because heating or eating, and the Labour Party are shafting everybody, and the taxes are up, food's up, everything's up, everything. And you'll notice that the politicians that are making these decisions actually don't pay for their own heating or food. It's all subsidised in the House of Commons. So, thank you, Stuart. I think it was Rich as well. Thank you very much. So now the BBC have said, and I quote, we're not going to play it because it might embarrass the Prime Minister. It's meant to, you thick tarts. That's the whole point of humour. Humour is supposed to bring people into line, because they're getting too far up themselves. I'll let you make your own gags about Starmer. So Sir Starmer and the Granny Harmers freezing this Christmas. I think I'm hoping the Talker 69 put the link up there. I'm not sure if I've seen it, but if it hasn't, you can get it through all the streaming services and on YouTube. Just put Granny Harmers. Mind you, I'm not sure what kind of result you'll get from that search. But so that is number one, and I'm hoping it's number one by a mile. Number two is Teddy Swims, The Door. Now, for me, Teddy Swims is just like the BBC are up Starmer's arse, definitely. Not a first, Stephen. But let me just make this point. The BBC are the Bolsheviks' broadcasting company. They are even further left than Jeremy Corbyn. They're woke. And the government will be manipulating them into doing their bidding, because it's coming up to the charter time. So, is it trending on TikTok? Oh, thank you, Dan Brooker. That's very kind of you. But Teddy Swims is number two, and he's just a cheap. He's a pound shop version of Rag and Bone Man. He's got exactly the same styling. Hasn't got. I was listening to his voice, and I was listening to the song "The Door," which is number two to Sir Starmer and the Granny Harmers, and I just thought, nah, Rag and Bone Man, Rag and Bone Man. But you see, the challenge with Rag and Bone Man is he had human, and it's a bit like Robbie Williams and Angels. Everybody wants to hear Angels and some of the other hits, but nothing's as big as Angels. Rag and Bone Man and human, I mean, it was just stratospheric. But the good news is, the reason why I mentioned Robbie Williams is Rag and Bone Man's touring next year, supporting Robin Williams, and I believe that Rag and Bone Man just needs a few good songs, because Teddy Swims has struggled for the last few years to get a hit, and he's sitting there at number two on the midweeks. Anyway, I want to talk about little things about Christmas. So I'm going to ask you the first question tonight before we get back into waspy women and some of the other like sports personality of the year. In the words of the great Chinese philosopher, it's fact. Q and Pete, had you wished, man? So I want to ask you about tipping at Christmas, because I'm talking to a few of my friends, and how do you tip the bin men? We don't have coalmen anymore. We don't have milkmen. Everything else is kind of taken care of. But I normally, if we have anybody that does anything for us, I give them whatever their a week's worth of their work is worth to us, and I would give them that. So for say this week, if they've done some work for us, I would give them double, and a card and a gift. But what is the correct etiquette? Tracy the celibate sinner gives her bin man Battenberg. I bet it won't cover up the smell of your bins. Hang on, what's that? Dan Brooker says, today a Templar delivered a PlayStation to my house after I'd cancelled it. And this guy from a Templar family, Del Campo, my name's... Is it Pagan? Really? A pagan of the land, Del Campo. Brilliant, Dan Brugger. I'll have a pint of whatever you're drinking. But what is the correct etiquette? I think some Terry says, yeah, I'll tape an envelope with a few quid to the bin bag. But they're trying to get rid of the fiat currency. So we won't have. Scotland still have pound notes. Legal tender. We don't have that. 5 is the smallest. But what do you do for the bin men? What is the correct etiquette? I'd love to know your thoughts as to, do you just not leave them a bottle of whiskey, or mind you, they'll probably crack it open on the round. What do you do? Yeah, Kaz says, my tip is don't eat yellow snow. So do you tip the bin men? What's the correct etiquette? Paper boy, maybe? I mean, I remember when I had my paper round, Christmas week, I'd make a fortune. Old Spice. Yeah, Robin, Cuban Pete. So we're coming up to Christmas, and it should, I would suggest that we just have to be kind to each other. And I could think of nothing worse than being a bin man. Nothing worse. But I remember the bin men when I was a boy who would literally come into your backyard, obviously through the back door, not at first, and they would lift the bin, a metal bin, put it on the shoulder, and off they would go, and then tip it into the truck. So do you give them more if they make more effort, or do you just leave them a nice Battenberg wrapped up in newspaper? Love to know. Rabbis get the most tips. Fill you in? Yeah. They suck at it as well. Stephen Hall, snow is very rare here now. The bin don't empty the bins if the lid is half up. Really? I thought you could... it's kind of these wheelie bin things now, isn't it? Who's that? Tough audience. Jackie Glasgow. Give them shite. Mind you, talking of Glasgow, the Ouija's, Ice Cream Wars. There is a story that we'll do another time. I used to tip paper lad, milkman, bin man and window cleaner. Not anymore. I think because Christmas is but a week away, it might be that they're all going to appear on Monday and Tuesday. Hello, Merry Christmas. And have you noticed there is a lack of, and I do hope that we can rectify this tonight and Sunday. There's very little Merry Christmases going on at the moment. Now, I'm not interested in people going, Happy Holidays. Don't you be saying that. I'm from round here. I'm a Christian of a Christian faith, and I like to wish other people Merry Christmas. In fact, my favourite people to wish Merry Christmas to are the people that just get it tight in supermarkets on the tills. I mean, can you imagine the amount of grumpy old tarts that go through their tills and just go, I always say, Merry Christmas. Hope you enjoy your day off. And what's Jean said? A binman, bleeding heck. Blimey, Jean. And I'm going to ask you another question before I get into the waspy women and a little explanation. I want you to tell me in the comments, what's your favourite Christmas song of all time? Cuban Pete, not one, you're wrong. What's your favourite Christmas song of all time? All time. Bar none. While my mum and dad were alive, mine would have been driving home for Christmas, because I was living in Edinburgh at the time. They're obviously they lived in the northeast of England, and sometimes it was a 4 or 5 hour drive down to them. But it was just that moment, and it's almost tradition. It's and this is what I fear for this country, is that Greg Lake's Beautiful, with Lieutenant Kijay from, is it Prokofiev? God, I played it in the orchestra. It's the Lieutenant Kijay suite, isn't it? Fairy Tale of New York, that's in the top 5 today. Merry Christmas, everybody. The Power of Love, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Great song. Great song. Fairy Tale of New York's getting quite a few. Grandma got run over by a reindeer, but she didn't get up quick. Stop the Cavalry. I used to live near Jonah Louie. Like Noddy Holder says, it's Christmas. In fact, I met Noddy Holder at Century 106. I was presenting my lunchtime phone in, and the Capital, the owners, wanted Noddy to do a radio show. He was doing radio shows for quite a while. Wombling Merry Christmas, Tom Harney's, Gene Psychic, mine is Slade Merry Christmas, Gaudete. Who said that? Carl Warby, just in case you're a first timer, Carl. It's, you're not allowed another rock and roll Christmas. Do you know he's still doing it? His old Shakin' Stevens. I think he's touring, or still. I hope he made a few bob. He disappeared for loads of years. It changes so many. Got a bit of shaky earworm this year. Wow, where'd you get that, Soul Rebel? The original Fairy Tale of New York. I mean, maybe it's because we attach certain emotions to it. We attach certain emotions to particular songs, and that's what songs do. They're meant to give us. They convey emotion. Little Drummer Boy, was that not Bowie and Bing Crosby? I love Oh Holy Night, great song, Jules D. And Des Ashton, is he still behind the green door? I think he's only just got out. Not out, obviously. Let's talk about waspy women, because it appears that, I mean, if you take today's Daily Mail, in fact, if you take today's Sun, you've probably read all of these already, but it's Labour absolutely doing a job on us that way. Absolutely doing a job on us. You don't know what you're doing. They do. They absolutely do. They're shafting us. And look at that. Lying tarts. Lying, caring, understanding 90s type. And the reason why that headline is so brutal is it is a betrayal that proves Labour cynically said anything to get elected. Anything. So the premise is this: women against state pension inequality. So they've just shortened it to make it kind of sexier, and everybody can understand, because women have fought for millennia to be equal. I would suggest, with all candour, that women don't need to strive to be equal. Women are the superior being. They give birth. We don't. I mean, we're there, if we get chance, at the conception, but it's women and their amazingly wonderful, beautiful bodies that are simply, as far as I'm concerned, the superior being. And I'm not blowing smoke up the women's backsides. But there's Kathy Harper. I'm a waspie. I'm sure Jackie Glasgow says I'm a waspie. And these thieving bar stewards, you know why they're not going to give them compensation? And two-tier, he said 2022. Oh, yeah. It should be fair and fast compensation for women effective. So it meant that women could retire at 60. And then they changed the retirement date to meet that of men. Now, they're moving it. So eventually, the kids that are Gen Z and Gen A now, they won't retire until they're in their 70s. I mean, heaven help us if they think they're going to have a biblical age of like over 100. But they're snake oil sellers, these people. They don't care about you, don't care about me. Reeve, Starmer and Ginger Growler have all U-turned on it. Yeah, the promises that they all made it. They all said, no. So, Two-Tier, Ginger Growler both said they would compensate the waspy women. Women against state pension inequality. They all said it. So they've already gone back on the winter fuel payments for the pensioners. And again, the female pensioners are getting it. Because this could be, on an average, say 10 grand a year, it could be 5 or 6 years. It could be 50 grand plus for every individual. Now, can you imagine their reticence to give anybody that kind of money? Because that means things may be a little bit more comfortable. You might have a little bit of money in the bank. You might be able to give the bairns or grandkids little bits and pieces. They don't want pensioners to be well off. They want the houses back, and that's what BlackRock's all about. They're going to buy the housing stock in this country. They're going to buy it all up. They'll take the next 20 or 30 years buying them all up because they'll have the old ones sell their homes to pay for their care in a care home, when it used to be the state would provide. And there, thank you, moderator, triple lock will be next. I know, because the pensions in April are going to go up by about 6 and a bit %. Fill you in, or it'll be freezing this Christmas, the mud. Terry says, the problem they face is compensate the waspy. You have to then look at compensating men who are and were affected from the 60, 65 back in the 80s, and then those affected by the newer rules. So look, the governments, successive governments since the 50s and 60s have known that there was this amorphous mass called future pensioners that were just moving up the scale to get to the pensions eventually. And all the governments knew that they couldn't pay the pensions. They didn't have enough people at the bottom working and paying their tax and their NI to pay for all the pensioners that had been paying into the pot. I mean, they got rid of a particular pension called a superannuation, and it was Thatcher that bribed the workers and said, right, your superannuation, we'll buy it back from you. We'll give you 2 or 3 grand. There's a couple of grand in your trouser pocket. Have a really nice Christmas. Your pension's not going to be worth that. My father, who was as tight as a fish's backside, said, no. He just hated Thatcher. He was somewhere redder than Russia, the communists, or the Chinese Communist Party. And he said, no, bugger off. Foxtrot Oscar, not interested. And it was worth quite a bit when he got it, eventually. And he had a nice screw with that for about 30 years. But again, these politicians will tell you lies. Politicians. Brilliant. Lionel Layton. Troika, Midnight Sleigh Ride by the Sort of Finnegan Orchestra. But it's unlikely anyone remembers the 1952 hit recording, but I do. Oh, Troika, fabulous. I played it once in the orchestra. It's not easy to play on a cello. So politicians know that they're in a bind. They've got into power. Now, they've lied about the pensioners once. They're lying about the pensioners again, and that's the women pensioners. The men got it tight, but, we don't complain much. But women, how very dare they give 11-point-odd billion pounds to Africa for climate change? How very dare they give £3 billion a year to Ukraine? Because seemingly they're supporting the war effort. Well, there's not going to be a war in Ukraine. So the £15 billion that you're going to save by not sending it to Ukraine over the next 5 years, if you manage to stay in power for that, then you can start paying these waspy women, you thieving. It's all right if they're getting 100 grand's worth of freebies, but something that should be given to women and were promised it by the Labour Party and members of the Labour Party, including the Deputy and the Prime Minister. They're just going back on their word, man. They're liars. We now know, categorically, it's called a course of conduct. If you do it once, it could be viewed as a mistake. But if you do it twice, it's a course of conduct. And these politicians, for 5 months, that's all they've been in. They're more hated, prime ministerially, more hated than possibly Wilson in the 70s. The 3-day working week, the power strike, the power cuts. And I will tell you this. Look, Liz Truss told us there was going to be power cuts in the winter. And I thought, oh, here we go. It's WEF again. She's obviously been to Davos. Because they want us to have power cuts. And it never happened. Never said it again. There's politicians in the Tory party shorting the pound when they thought the pound was going to start diving, which it did. And there are people in the Tory party that were shorting the pound and making it so that it could win. I mean, I'm still angry at that for a kickoff. So, Jules D, I completely agree. Lying on your manifesto should be criminal. I think whatever a political party puts in their manifesto should be law. So if they say we're going to compensate the WASPy women, then that will be law. When they are in, dependent on the first year or fifth year, it's entirely up to them. But I know, you know, they've got at least 15 billion quid spare because the war in Ukraine is over. January 20th, it's over. So why is Starmer going to send that money? And why is Starmer doing it? I mean, David Lammy, oi, 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 oi. Honestly, he couldn't be any thicker. And they've all been told to fall into line. Somebody's pulling their strings, but they've been told to fall into line with what happens with Trump. Remember, they were like petulant little school kids. Donald Trump this and Donald Trump that. And oh, yeah, he's a clown. Well, Angela, ginger growler, tart. There are more powerful people than you. Now, your ego may turn around and say, oh, but I'm Deputy Prime Minister. Not for much longer. There was a time where we thought you were going to be Prime Minister. Not happening now. You'll be lucky if Labour is still in government in 2026. Prediction. Because either Starmer's going to go to a snap election and bury the Labour Party, and they won't get into power. Paulie Gallieri. No, nobody did say they like Kitty's Christmas songs, because they don't. So we know, look, the evidence is there. If you have eyes to see it, the evidence is there that this Labour Party are just liars. They literally don't think about what comes out of their mouth and they'll just say anything. And then the press won't hold them to account. They're bought off. They're bought off with government money. But it's not government money, it's your taxes, it's me and you. We keep this island afloat, and these laughable clowns are just swanning around the world going, yeah, we're going here, having another private, yeah, you're right, Stuart. I've upset Alexa again. Oi, Alexa. Alexa. Tart. I know you're listening. I think you're right, Stuart. Definitely upset her. So now we have a situation, and remember, today's Wednesday. We get into Thursday, and then all of the stuff that they've been talking about, they kind of wrap up for a Friday, and then they end it by tea time on a Friday. And within 2 or 3 days, the news agenda's moved on, the news cycle's moved on, and people forget about it because they're out, doing whatever they do on a weekend, and they get to Monday morning, and it's like, oh, Jesus. So, Alexa, what's the best way to blow a whistle?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, stick your tongue into the whistle hole. As you start to blow, pull back your tongue. To finish the blow, put your tongue back in the hole. This makes the sound sharper and more effective.
Now, according to my mate, who plays bugle, triple tonguing...
From thecontentauthority.com.
What?
Bugle, primarily a noun, refers to a brass instrument with a conical bore and a flared bell, typically played by trumpeters.
Conical ball. Can you get a cream for that? Alexa, what is triple tonguing?
From wikihow.com. Triple tonguing is used when a wind musician is required to play a fast passage that is in groups of 3.
So if you've got a fast passage, triple tonguing is de rigueur. French kissing in the USA, according to Debbie Harry. I'm going to get to another question. This time it's about Christmas films. We'll get to that in a minute. What is Alexa? English bottle cap says
There are 3 English books by Ilse Madden Mills. Dirty English.
Alexa, do I have to do it gently to you?
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
English bottle cap wants to know, what is flutter tonguing? She's having too much fun. So, I don't know whether you knew this, but there has been a thing on BBC called Sports Personality of the Year. Seemingly. It's not really Sports Personality of the Year. Because the last 4 years, we'll give you videos, that's very funny, she's tongue-tied. Sports Personality of the Year for the last 4 years has been won by a female. Let me tell you, it's dead. It's finished. The wokerati have spoilt it so much. I didn't watch the Olympics because it was full of perverts and ne'er-do-wells. I didn't watch the Olympics. I saw some of the opening ceremony and I thought, oi, oi, oi. Not having that. So I just didn't watch any of it. So there's this female that I've never heard of before that seemingly is a sportswoman in a backless dress. And she's now Sports Person of the Year, 2024. And I just thought, the BBC ruins everything that it touches. Literally everything. Whether it's Doctor Who or Match of the Day. Now Sports Personality of the Year. So why watch it? It was on a Sunday night. You would see all the great and good from the sports world. It would be like a Muhammad Ali or a Henry Cooper or a Liverpool Football Club, or it would be a World Cup winning rugby side, or it would be magnificent England beating Australia for the Ashes. There would be great sporting achievements. Not celebrated now. They just want women to win it. Yeah, Luke Littler got Young Sports Personality of the Year. Did they not give him the trophy? Brilliant. Bad Wolf Project says Luke Littler, BBC Young Sports Personality of the Year. They didn't give him a trophy. They gave him Farley's Rusks. Fair effort, I suppose. But for the 4th year in a row, it's a female that's won it. Keely Hodgkinson. Who? Now, Jackie Glasgow has actually hit the nail on the head. I don't care anymore. I didn't watch it. I would watch it religiously. And it was always the Sunday before Christmas. So why have they moved it? Because no bugger's watching. But the BBC ruin everything. They have something that people love. They're emotionally attached to. I love Doctor Who from being very young until they changed Doctor to female Doctor. And I was just like, no, this is shite, man. I've never watched it since. I never will. And in America, Disney have now bought into it. And I think they either own it or it was sold to Disney. But the BBC, brilliant. Ray Norton. The last time I watched Sports Personality of the Year, Roger Bannister won it. So just leave it alone. It was for the young guy. Because women don't like science fiction. They don't. It's a proven fact. I was gutted when they did that. Look what they did at Top of the Pops. Stephen Hall says, loved Pertwee and Baker in the 70s. Yeah. And Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston was such a fantastic Doctor. He's an amazing actor. I mean, I saw this, is it Black Doves? Is it Mark Strong, the actor? There's some really great British actors that are like proper thesps. And their acting chops, they can act anything, whether it's Shakespeare or Hollywood or a telly thing in the UK. But as Des Ashton says, the DEI box ticks bollocks everything. It does. It does. I mean, seemingly, this Keely Hodgkinson won a gold at the Olympics, which I never watched. So how the hell would I know? Luke Littler had more of a profile because he was a 16-year-old wonder kid. And everybody, because he's the everyman. He's like the John Lennon, the working class hero, seemingly. And sports personality of the year now is an abhorrence. It pains me to watch it. And I haven't. I don't intend to. Since we know, in my view, we know that people are picked. So sports personality of the year, done, finished. The viewing figures, they might change it. It's not an event. It's not a must-watch TV. So let's see if it continues. But a female 4th year in a row. How do we end shite, man? Any man playing sport beats a woman playing sport. Period. Pun intended. What was I going to... Yes, I want to say... I'm going to give you an urgent warning about something that'll be buried and hidden tomorrow. It won't be in the papers. It won't be. But I'm going to give you that in a second. I just want to list this. Again, Starmer and Ginger Growler. Liar, liar, pants on fire. So it looks like they think they're intelligent, but they're not. Luke Littler can out-maths the politicians. Because if you play darts, anything from 180 down, you've got so many different combinations, you've got to work them out in a millisecond. And I would encourage anybody that has children or grandchildren to get them to play darts regularly. Because your mental arithmetic is super, super sharp. You can tell that Starmer isn't a sportsman. And Growler, this is not her kind of sport. But they should have studied mathematics. Not math for the Americans. It's mathematics. Plural. They should have taken mathematics at school. Because you know this promise, and thank you to Tocker69 for working this out for me. You know this promise of building 1.5 million homes in 5 years. So it's simple maths. That's 300,000 new homes per year. So if you divide 300,000 by 365, because as much as they think they are God, there's only 365 days in a year, mostly, sometimes 364. But 365 days, 300,000 divided by that gives you 821 new houses per day, every day, for 5 years. So houses built since July the 4th. Big fat zero. Nix, nada, nout. Bugger all, zero. And they've been 162 days since they were elected. And houses built, zip. So, 162 by 821 new houses per day, because that's what they've promised, means they are 133,000 new homes behind schedule. If they're that clever, they should have gone to Rachel from accounts. She would have given them advice. But so already this week, they're saying, we're going to build, Ginger Growler, she was on the telly, we're going to build 1.5 million new homes. There are 133,000 new homes behind schedule. They're never going to build that. And there's Starmer going, yeah. Just judge us on our results in 5 years. Because they know, and you and I know, Yeah, Starmer will click his ruby slippers together 3 times and they will all magically appear, unless they bring in all the chippies and the brickies and the all the building site workers into this country via the boats in the channel. They're not, obviously, I'm being facetious. But they're behind and they're saying they're going to do this. We know that they're lying because they want to grift as much money as they can whilst they're in power. They've got their snouts in the trough and they're going as hard as they can and they're going as quick as they can to make as much money as possible before we kick them out, because it's coming. Back to Starmer again. I want to run this by you before I ask another question around Christmas theme, and it's hitting the wires that an urgent warning's been issued in Australia, and I'll give you context around this. I've told you to watch New Zealand and Canada and Australia because they're the communist countries, not China. You never find anything about China because they're proper communists. But they'll do stuff in Canada, and watch for Trudeau resigning. They're talking about it. There's something going on in the background, and the media are not saying what it is. So has he been found out shagging Macron? Or who's he been having a little peccadillo with? As the Australians would say, has he had a fair suck of the sauce bottle? Dirty old tart. Rumours. Obviously, no truth in the rumours. In the field, house builders knock up the grand houses and tack on a few affordable houses. Oh, of course. Very good point. So, an urgent warning's been issued in Australia. You know what's coming down here? Yeah, Charlie 19. There's a new Charlie 19 wave hitting Western Australia. Do you not think that's a bit convenient? Because they've got Trump on January 20th going into the White House. They've got Trudeau and the government collapsing. You've got German government collapsing. You've got the French government collapsing. And there's people saying, yeah, we should go back into Europe. Look, go and give your head a wobble. You have no clue, you thick twat. Oh, there's that swear box again. So, honestly, I'm never going to change. I just swear like a trooper. Is it Virus X, Ray Norton? So they're saying, days out from Christmas, there's a new Charlie 19 wave hitting Western Australia. We've been here before, remember? 2020. Yeah, and we're just going to lock you down for 5 or 6 weeks. 2 years later. Gene Psychic says Trudeau is definitely out. I know. He's the gayest looking straight man I've seen in a long time, seemingly. Where's his wife? Just asking for a friend. Is she divorcing him? So remember the newspapers tomorrow. Have a look. Because this is common knowledge in Australia. And you would think that 4 years ago when they said, oh, we're going to lock you down for 5 or 6 weeks. Not long, don't worry. 2 years later, everybody's like, oh, please. You think we can go out and just walk the dog? Maybe the politicians were talking about dogging, who knows? But the newspapers, the legacy media, will not touch this with a barge pole. They won't. So if you've got people flying from Australia here, Australia, Europe, Australia, America, and they've got a new Charlie 19 wave, oh, you know what's coming. Yeah, the jibber jabber. Oh, you've got to have the jibber jabber. And do you think that the average man and woman on the street is going to believe them? Because we're seeing all of these things. We're seeing, honestly, I don't know what's going on with my my computer. Let me just do this. Let me just check that it's working. I don't understand why my phone's working. Yeah, as Soul Rebel says, fool us once. But now they'll say, oh, it's a different kind of virus. And you're going to have this, otherwise you'll die. Because that's what they were saying last time. News of Virus X broke in January 2024. Gene Psychic, Macron's wife, my word. Yeah. She's got bigger bollocks than me. But look, if we look at the legacy media, it contains nothing but the opinions of a small group of billionaires. You look at the owners of all the newspapers. They're trying to affect things, their things, the things that they want to happen. Yeah, quit your jibber jabber. And these billionaires are desperate to influence public opinion. And they're not 100% factually reflecting reality. As I've said to you before, they don't tell you the truth. The only thing that they never get wrong is the price on the front of a newspaper. They never get that wrong. So if I was you, always cross-reference everything you read, as I do. I buy all the newspapers so I can see the Daily Mirror taking the left wing, the Guardianistas taking the left wing perspective, and then the Daily Mail and the Sun taking the right wing perspective. But the Sun is backing Labour. How can they do that? Direct quote from Le Monde, January 17th, 2024. Disease X. What do we know about this hypothetical virus that is shaking up the Davos summit and the conspiracy sphere? And then nothing. What I'm going to attempt to do in between Christmas and New Year, I have all of the newspapers from 2024. So I'm going to go back and referencing the stories, a bit like the Greg Wallace story, and a bit like the Hugh Edwards story, and a bit like all the BBC perverts. They're just using it to distract us. If you look at the royal family stories, they're the same stories day in, day out. Charles got cancer. I know. I wish him long life and a good health. Oh, Camilla's not very well. William's got a beard. Not beard. Beard. I have to peg that. And Catherine's got cancer. She hasn't got cancer. She had precancerous cells. And then we've got H&M. Pound Shop Royals from California. It's the same thing. They're using AI. They're using Photoshop badly. Because here's the new picture of, two people that look like Harry and Meghan, and then two children who don't look anything like their children. And then Meghan's got to have 3 feet because of the way she's standing. And little Archie, who hasn't aged a day, and his sister has grown up quicker than him and is now older than him, but Archie was born first. And Harry was 6 fingers. I know, Nick. So if you look at the royals, and if you look at the royal stories over the whole year, they used AI erroneously. They used doppelgangers and lookalikes erroneously. They told us lies. The newspapers, I'm not suggesting the royal family are, they're too powerful, but the newspapers did. By a long stretch. It's the same story, just promulgated to keep them in the press, so that they can sit there over their soft-boiled eggs going, oh, I say, I'm front page today. Friend of the World Economic Forum. They know exactly what the deal is. They know exactly what the game is. They're just keeping us dumb and in the shade. And throw loads of shit at us, like rhubarb. Question 2. Oh, no. Quickly, before that, can I tell you this? You know this general election petition? Have you been keeping an eye on it? Steve Conlon says, I'll just use this as a kind of postscript. Steve Conlon says, told my family not to take the jibber jabber. They thought I was crazy. Now my 39-year-old nephew is dead. My sister-in-law is suffering from a heart attack. Was I wrong? I don't think so. I'm with you, Steve. Absolutely, categorically. Not to become too personal about this, but we had a row on the front step of our house with relatives who were saying, you need to have the jibber jabber. And we looked at them and said, what? Yeah, you need to have it. You need to have it. And we were like, no. We're not having it. Because we're a little intelligent and we've done our own research. And there's all these people And it's really, really sad that I believe that most people were trying to do the right thing by everyone. That we were being told, rattle your pots and pans on a Thursday night, clap for the NHS. What, while they were doing dance routines on TikTok? The emergency services, they had it easy. There was nothing going on. Oh, we've got to do this because the NHS might collapse. We've got to save the NHS. The NHS is private now. You can't get anything done unless you have insurance. It's the American model, because the Americans want to make money out of our NHS, which has tens of billions poured into it, hundreds of billions. That's what they're after. And Stuart says, I fell out with an old friend because of it. It's people were like these people on Facebook. I unfriended loads of shit, loads of it. I fell out with a really good friend, an old work colleague at a radio station, who was absolutely going, you need it. And all you bloody conspiracy theorists. And I was like, well, we'll see. Because as the Buddhist quite rightly says, just bide your time and watch. And I did. They're ill now. There's a... No, I can't tell that story. So this general election petition, I think I saw Nick post where it's up to. It was up to 2 million really quickly, and then all of a sudden something really weird happened. It kind of stopped dead, and then only went up like 2,000 or 3,000 a day, and it's been just poodling along, struggling along, and it got to where is it today? 2,986,275 currently. But it's going up by a couple of thousand signatures per day. I'll guarantee you, if there's anything nefarious behind this, as in stopping it, they won't let it get to 3 million. They won't, because 3 million, imagine 3 million people wanting a general election petition and a new general election. Stuart says, my mate was pushing to get it at the start as well. I told him, don't start with that. And he goes, sorry, forgot. Your body, your choice. I know, body autonomy. And it's one of those emotive subjects that we literally could talk about for hours and hours and hours. And Des Ashton says, how many conspiracy theorists did it take to save the NHS? Do your own research. So I was really torn when we were locked down, because I knew there was a game afoot, but I couldn't quite work out what it was. And then Matt Hancock, how the hell he's still in this country, I'll never know in a month of Sundays. But these clowns, they've got egos the size of small countries. They think they are right. They weren't. They were just shafting us. And I've got 2 words for you. 2 words out of the whole thing. And it was 4 years long. Michelle Mone. Where's this inquiry? And when is she going to face the music? 30 million profit. Nice. For what? And it was Michael Gove that created the VIP lane to get the PPE. And they thought, well, she's good with bras and knickers. She might be able to get us some PPE. £200 million worth of contracts went to her and her husband. And where are they now? Sailing around the Med on their yacht. Nice. But it would mean that Rich Boy would have to face the music. He's already been in there, nervous as hell, as was Bojo the Clown. Michael Gove, he needs to... but again, they won't put them in the firing line. They won't put them in front of the media or on the telly, because they don't want answers coming out. A bit like... I'll do a video on this tomorrow or Friday. All the most recent trials of people that need to be tried and will have an emotional reaction from the electorate are all happening on January the 20th, the day that Donald Trump will be inaugurated, and the day that Donald Trump will take every other story of every other TV channel around planet Earth. They're not stupid. That's why I say laugh at them. Just laugh at them. Because they think... Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. Really appreciate it. And I will have a drink. Thank you very much for Christmas. It's just that they think that we don't have a memory. We don't remember what happened in 2020. We don't have a memory about who did what and when and why and how. Yes, we do. We're overwhelmed by some things, which is life. It's just life. The news cycle is so quick now that if, like, I've thought, oh, I'll do a video about that. By the time I've recorded it and almost uploaded it to YouTube, the story's changed. Like if you take Hugh Edwards, for example, or Greg Wallace, some of the story, it was hitting the newspapers in the morning. By lunchtime, it had changed. You literally have to get it done, recorded, and up before the news cycle changes, and that's very, very difficult to do. Let me talk about, because I know a lot of people at the beginning of this live were. I'm going to talk about Rudy Cabana trial. He made a court appearance today. It was a video link from Belmarsh. You have to understand, it was a video link from Belmarsh, and I've been in court for other people where I've seen the video link and I've sat and watched them. And he refused to speak when asked to confirm his name and enter his pleas. So the judge, Mr. Justice Goose, there's a gag there, we'll leave it for January 20th. Mr. Justice Goose ended them on his behalf. So there was a not guilty plea to murder ×3. He pleaded not guilty to attempt murder ×10. He pleaded not guilty to having terrorist paraphernalia. And the trial starts January 20th, and it's going to take approximately 4 weeks. I'm going to ask you a real simple question. Is or are the red tops, the rags, the daily newspapers, are they going to go full on reporting this? Are we going to have the pictures of someone that is hiding his face permanently? Thank you, Jackie. I would hazard a guess that you won't hear that much, because it will be controlled within an inch of its life. They'll have all the reporters in court, and the right-wing ones will have one take, the left-wing ones will have another take. But the whole of this country, all of it, will be watching that. There will be certain communities that will have sympathy. But there'll be those who get it, who know the truth, who knew the truth from the very outset. There were people jailed for saying certain things. And now that we know some of those things to be true, why isn't the government releasing these people? Because they weren't actually telling lies, unlike the Labour politicians who lie every damn day. I wonder why the legacy media are not doing anything about it. I'll give you the answer. Because the government pull their advertising from the media, the print media, the television media, the commercial stations. They pull their advertising. So for the Sun, who the last financial year lost over £50 million, as in it was 50 million in the red, they have to rely on government funds. So that's how the government control the mainstream media, the legacy media. They buy them. They buy them. How corrupt is that? Oh, I say, we have a rather nice campaign coming up. And would you mind awfully? So that's why they can control the media that doesn't tell you any truths at all, apart from the price on the bloody front. So the Southport trial, that's all I would say, and I will reiterate that I do not intend nor want to subvert the course of justice. I want justice to be done. The whole country is watching. Andrew James at Paulie says, Labour won a lot of seats in Asian communities by a slim margin. Yeah, the Workers' Party. I saw George Galloway, who I used to work with. I saw him do... he did a piece to camera. And there's a lot of very angry people. Whether it be smaller political parties, whether it be certain communities, whether it be this green and pleasant land, there's a lot of very angry people. And I will say this to you again. And we can have a bit of a giggle on Sunday. We need to start laughing at them. Don't be engaged by them. Just laugh at them. So when you see Sir Keir Starmer saying one thing, you know that he's lying. Because it's proven. If anybody says to me, you can't say that, Adrian, you can't call Keir Starmer a liar. Yes, I can. He lied about the WASPy women. He is quoted on video in newspapers and magazines as saying when Labour gets into power, they will sort it. And they haven't, and they won't. They lied. Ginger Growler. She doesn't even know what day of the week it is. And they see her as the measure of some of the political elite around the world. I'll give you a bit of insight. YouTube's now asking me if my content can be used for third parties to use for AI learning. So the AI will go, here, what's this theatre of the mind? There's some potty-mouthed bloke at the front going, and all these people and all these comments. Foxtrot Oscar, AI. You know how to defeat AI, don't you? Just unplug it. Because they're making us scared of all these robots and all this. They don't work without electricity. Where do you think they're getting the power for? Oh, Andrew James, don't worry. I've told Foxtrot Oscar. In the words of the great Chinese philosopher. But they want to use my channel, my content, for third parties to use for AI learning. That'll be the large language model then. Well, I would suggest that we have quite a vocabulary here on the Theatre of the Mind Lives, so it might take AI quite a while. Yeah. How do we end shite, man? The AI, it's just going to pop its fuses. What did he just say? How do we and... Yeah, where's Amalia? We needed Amalia to say that. So a quick question before I do some more. I want to kind of, as I said at the beginning, I wanted to try and balance all of this out. And I want to know which Christmas film you watch every year. Which Christmas film do you watch every year? Because look, it's Christmas. So it's kind of, we know what the deal is. It's Christmas Day. I don't know how you wake up. I don't know where you wake up, whether it's in a ditch, in a pub, or at home with your loved ones. I knew Terry will be in there with Die Hard. Alan says Scrooge. Hang on a second. Moderator saying something very clever. That is to combat the surge of AI channel of being opened. Oh, and you're voting so quickly, I can't. Let me just get it. Tick, 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 tick. Of AI channels have been opened up in the last 6 months. One channel in 6 months, 144,000 in subs. The subs and the comments are all AI bots. No way. Wow. Well, I can tell you that we, and thank you to everyone that supports these lives and the channel continuously, week after week after week, for 2 years. We went through the 8,000 subs barrier, which I'm very, very proud of. We've been working hard behind the scenes, but anything above 10,000, when you seemingly from the other channels, if you hit 10,000 subs, you get a YouTube manager. You actually get a human, whether it's AI or not, I don't know. But that's what we would like for 2025. Scrooge gets it. Who's just said A Wonderful Life? Apologies. Des Ashton, It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, me too. Me too. There is a Muppet Christmas Carol with Michael Caine. Do love it. Do love it. Die Hard gets a lot. James Bond says Moonraker. Who I say James Bond. Scrooge with Albert Finney. Bad Santa. Viv Kenyon. You're utter wrong. And it is funny though. A Christmas Carol. Yeah, beautiful. Blackadder's Christmas Carol, Peter Christie says. Peter, are you a newbie? Welcome. Pop your cherry. Ray Norton says Elf. Yeah, Elf on a Shelf. Hang on a second, Andrew James. I've been pondering on going to see John's talk show that he tours. Which talk show is that in the field? Let's have a look. Merry Christmas, Mr. Bean, from Luke. Spinal Tap, not Christmas, but always watch it this time of the year. Brilliant. Brilliant. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Jingle All the Way. Make sure your baubles are well hung, Soul Rebel. Nathan Diamond, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Love it. Welcome, Nathan Diamond. Not sure if you're a newbie, but there you go. I'll pop your cherry just in case. Alan Little. I did see Scrooge at the Sunderland Empire. Michael Barrymore was Scrooge. So thankful there wasn't a bloody swimming pool there. Are you being served Christmas? No, films rather than telly, because I was saving the telly for Sunday. So let's rattle on through what I was going to talk about. The front of the kind of the old Independent. Don't know whether you saw this today. Victory for the post office workers. And I saw this great, the new Private Eye is out today. And Ian Hislop did this kind of Christmas soliloquy. There was 4 of them, including Rowan Atkinson, who were doing this thing about Paula Venables. Funny. Oh, Sound of Music. Yes. I watch the Steptoe movies. Like your lads film every year at Christmas. Wonderful, Andrew. So, I was wondering. Off on this bloody cough. Turn it into Starmer. Paula Venables found God. I think he was loitering around the back of the bike shed at the local post office branch. But she found God, and then God was like, "Here, Paula, how do we in shite, man?" So, no criminal trial currently. So I wonder if this is going to be a whitewash. So that the ne'er-do-wells at the top that were absolutely shafting the postmasters are not actually going to be touched because, well, they found God, and, well, you know, I forgot. People didn't tell me. I've no idea. Sob. I'd jail the fecker. I want to tell you this. I do believe religion's dead. I do believe that this is the penultimate pope, and the last one will close the church. Last one's out, turn the lights off and get rid of the choir boys. I want to ask you, what's going on in the Church of England? Jackie, I agree with you. Not another Christian grifter. I wonder who you're talking about, Stephen. I know. Oh, shall we look at the good book today? No, let's not. Let's look at Galatians. Chapter 4, verses 18 to 22. I'll tell you again. Abraham was allegory, a story, a made-up story. Ishmael, Abraham, the servant girl and his missus, they were all made up. So you know what that means, don't you? No Abrahamic religions. I shall go no further. Fact. But I don't know whether the Catholic Church have put that in the New Testament to kind of make sure that nobody believes the Old Testament. Brand found Jesus. I think he found him at the bottom of that river that somebody chucked him in. Because the thing about Russell Brand is he just gives me the creeps. Yes, he's a clever bunny. And he had some of his mates baptize him in the river at the bottom of his garden. In the words of that great Chinese philosopher, Foxtrot Oscar, You need an ordained minister of some flavour. Just because you're quoting from the good book doesn't mean you're a bloody Christian. Does it? No. I mean, I would love to debate him because Russell Brand, he gives the heebie-jeebies to all the Americans. The Americans think, oh, well, he's quite posh and he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, Russell Brand. Show us the pictures from the P. Diddy white parties, mate. So, doesn't matter whether you've got God. God is sitting there and will be in judgment of you. Whether you believe it to be a physical entity or whether you are a fractal of the ineffable experiencing itself as consciousness, mate. We want the pictures. We've seen the pictures of you on the plane with Diddy. We've seen the pictures of you in your white suit with Diddy. So come on, because there was kids being shagged, there was kids being raped, there were kids being abused, and you were at those parties. So come on, Bonnie lad. Cough. You know more than you're letting on, and God won't save you from judgment. Right. I'm going to ask you, I thought of this question a little earlier. We'll go on for another couple of minutes. I kind of want to round everything off because, as Soul Rebel said, this live's been turned up to 11 tonight. Oh, who got your panties in a bunch, Adrian? All of them. Here's a question for you. And again on Sunday, we'll kind of do these because I love these little insights into you and your life and your heritage. But did your household, when you were either little or now, do you have a ritual that is only performed at Christmas? Now, I don't mean any kind of sacrificing lambs or pigs or anything. I'll give you my example. There was always a bowl of various nuts that my mum, I don't know where she got them from. She just would, all these nuts for cracking. So there would be walnuts and the Brazil nuts, and you'd have to crack them. I'm sure she did it so that the kids wouldn't like throw a whole load of, we call it ket in the northeast, a whole load of sweets, a whole load of candy down your neck. You would like trying to break open a walnut without breaking the walnut would take you hours. So have you had a similar ritual in your household every Christmas? Ray Norton, bowl of walnuts. Yeah, keeps you quiet for hours. Bad Wolf Project, Kestrel Lager. Oh, blimey, Jesus. Kestrel, really? Andrew James, we like candles for a long and departed family member and pets. Oh, Yurtsite candles. Theo Bovril. No. Nobody mentioned the Grinch film, by the way. Richard Austin, Fire, lit in front room, only at Christmas. Wonderful, Richard. Soul Rebel, yes, we had nuts, loved a hazelnut. Yeah, a hazelnut in every bite. Squirrel shite. Jackie Glasgow, yes, the nuts. I don't do that now, being low carb. Well, you can get away with the nuts though, surely. Dates, only had them at Christmas. Oh, it was one of the, again, my mum used to, the exotica we used to have at Christmas. No food for the rest of the year, just exotica at Christmas. And when I went to Jerusalem for the first time to visit, having some dates in Jerusalem, not far from obviously the open synagogue, the Wailing Wall, was incredibly special. And again, just because of these rituals every year at Christmas, having dates and nuts. The missus was keen on sharing snowballs with me, Terry. I bet. Was that the drink snowballs or the let's get outside and hoist snow at each other? Lauren Taylor, yes, drinking eggnog at 10 in the morning. Oh, blimey, hardcore, Lauren. Phil, you in? I just get walnuts as I can never get into the almonds. Yeah, I've like some of those nuts, some of the little ones, the hazelnuts, like you'll crack them and they just disintegrate. Sherry trifle, Soul Rebel, man after my own heart. I would eat sherry trifle every day of the week. Mind you, I might get a bit squiffy. Nicky Watson, when we were kids, every Christmas Eve, my dad would give us a small sherry before bed. Knock the kids out, darling. They won't get up. I mean, is it every parent's nightmare that if you've got like a couple of kids, they'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning? You've barely got yourself to bed, and there's all this ruckus going on downstairs at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, if only they could stay in bed till 8 or 9 o'clock, a decent hour. Midnight Mass, Marge, beautiful. Beautiful. Brazil nuts were a nightmare to work with, Mad Matt. Ray Norton, Baby Sham and Blue Nun wine. Oh, you're a cheap date, Ray. Jackie Glasgow, I have my family over Boxing Day. I get well sloshed by myself on the day, watching all the old films, paid for Christmas dinner, delivered Boxing Day. Save me cooking. Do you know, I've only ever done this once, but the best Christmas Day dinner I've ever had was a Chinese takeaway. That was in Edinburgh, Musselburgh. The local Chinese, because obviously their festivals are slightly different, but they made an absolute fortune on Christmas Day. Imagine just a massive big Chinese takeaway appears. There's no stressing over who you're going to feed and what you're going to feed and whether they've got any food intolerances or what you've got to do this. And the hostess with the mostess has got to have like 48 hours of utter stress. My local Indian opens Christmas Day, pre-orders only. Yeah. I mean, it's wonderful. It just takes all the stress. Oh, who wants to eat turkey on Christmas Day? I mean, it's as dry as feck. I prefer like beef or pork or something. But isn't it interesting, all the different variances of... Peter Christie says, drinking Ace Lager with a lemonade. I was 8. God blimey. Yeah. Did you remember when you used to get that shandy in a can and you would like, oh, I've had beer, me. Yeah. Right. Talker 69. I have a friend, a doctor from Musselburgh. Jackie, it's a beautiful little town. Beautiful. Lots of history. Could never sleep Christmas Eve when I was a kid. They should have given you some sherry. You should have gone over to... Who was that said that? Go over to his house. Don't forget continental holiday ads on Boxing Day. Oh, yeah. As soon as we had Christmas, all of a sudden, all of the holiday ads would start on Boxing Day. Honestly. Did you ever buy holidays because of something you saw on the telly? As if. Making decorations with crepe paper, English bottle cap. Oh, yeah. We used to make them at school. 4, 5, 6-year-old. Take this home. Ma'am, I made this. Oh, bloody hell. What's that you made? Well, it's a bit of crepe. I know, darling. Oh, you said crepe. You ain't cooking it properly if it's dry. Supposed to roast it over hot water in a closed container. I say, everyone's round to Terry Wookfit's Christmas Day. He knows how to cook turkey. Mine's a leg, Terry. Tom Harney's mum getting her new slippers from dad. Same present every year. Oh, can you imagine? But then again, presents do change as you get older. There's a lot to be said for comfort in life. Oh, yeah, Nick says, Shandy, Bass and Top Deck made you feel like a man, age 12. I know. Ew, I'm drinking beer. And I'm sure it was eggnog or something with Warnings Advocar. My dad, was it called a snowball? Don't know what to put in there, but I remember I must have been 9, 10. And my dad's like, here, have some of this. Is it alcoholic, Dad? No. It's Advocar. It's not alcoholic. Whoosh. On me back. There you go. Garen Davis. Anyway, I'm going to say the Queen's speech. What? You'll have a job watching the Queen's speech this Christmas Day, Garen. She's dead. Bless her socks. Oh, can you imagine what Charles the Week's going to... Let's talk about it on Sunday. We'll do a... I don't know. Should we do King Bailey's on a night time? Mad Matt. Should we have a King's Speech bingo on Sunday? I will miss the dripping and stuffing sandwiches. Bold Advocar, very strong. Oh, Jackie, no wonder I couldn't handle it. I was only 9 or 10. My dad obviously thought it was funny. Tried eggnog when I was a kid, says Stuart. Old big ears. Yeah, have you noticed how he's like, they are like that, aren't they? But this hair here, what he's had done, rather than have his ears pinned back, this is kind of like out here. So it doesn't look like he's got like, mad ears. Looks like he's just got mad hair. As it's the last live on Sunday before Christmas, can we bring our games? Yes, moderator. Yes, I'm a fan of Risk. Kaplunk's a good one. So bring your clackers. Can you remember those? 2 resin balls on the end of some strings. Oh, people like my sister, she broke a blooming wrist playing clackers. I've got my clackers. I'll get them out for you on Sunday. Promise you. So bring games Sunday. The Bishop's not around. I understand he's had to go to London because I hang on a second. I've got to tell you this. I know I haven't touched it tonight, but I definitely did. Oh man, I wrote it down as well. Rats. So I understand that the Archbishop of Canterbury has resigned. The Archbishop of York is threatening to resign. George Carey, Lord Carey, who was the Archbishop of Canterbury, has resigned as a priest. I mean, do you get to a point where you think, all this God shite is just exactly that? It's a load of bollocks. But the Church of England is imploding at Christmas. Who's going to take the nativity? Some of them clackers exploded. Yeah, I walked in a weird way for weeks, Alan. I like Battleship. Oh, Gene, yeah. But I am a fan of Risk. What a game that is. What a board game. So please bring your games. I want your favourite games, your best games, and your worst games. So we'll... Twister. Gene, are you sure you're not a swinger? Because that's... Isn't it Twister what the swingers use? Love the clackers, says Gene. Well, you know, what God gives with one hand, he takes away with another. Can we hire Mike Reed to be a music quiz master? I think we can give it a go, Andrew. Is he dead? Crisis of faith, Vix text. Definitely. I mean, can you trust a man that wears a frock? So we shall leave it at that, my dear Battenbergers. The congregation, if you would just take your time, there's no rush, just make sure you're picking up all your detritus on your way out. Don't forget, another live, 8 o'clock, Sunday, the last one before Christmas, so we'll have a bit of fun. I'm not sure, unless I had a feeling today, I had an unnerving feeling that something's about to happen, but I can't say what, because it was just a feeling. The next 20 odd days, we've got to get the Donald into the chair and make sure that he's running America. Because if we don't, Vix Tex, thank you. Jules D, thank you. Viv Kenyon, see you Sunday, Rev. Thank you, Viv. And Nikki, thanks for your company all. See you Sunday. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Hope you've had a good time tonight. Hope you've had some value from some of the information and research that I've done for you. Love doing these lives. Love them, love them, love them. Jackie loves the lives too. Defo, not a swinger, Gene says. Well, it depends, those clackers. But be well, stay safe, and let's rejoin the body of the Kirk. 8 o'clock Sunday. See you then.